All right, good morning, everyone. It is 9 o'clock. We'll go ahead and call the county commission meeting to order, Codington County. Today is Tuesday, February 11, 2025. It's 9 a.m. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'll have Commissioner Schwer lead us today.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Randy.
Yes.
Just a reminder to please silence your cell phones so that they do not disrupt the meeting. Call for public comment. Public comment may be submitted in person or via telephone at 605-882-6248 or 605-882-6297. Commissioners, any conflict of interest items on the agenda today?
No.
No. All right, I'll take a action to approve the February 11th agenda.
So moved. Second.
Moved by McElhaney, second by Gable. Any discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5 is action to approve the February 4th
So moved.
minutes.
Second it.
Moved by Johnson, second by Schwer. Discussion? No discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, that brings us down to number 6, discussion possible action to approve a timekeeping system. And all right, we'll bring Natalie up and Chief Deputy Brent Solon. Morning.
Morning.
Morning. So
Have to turn your mics on.
should
Yeah.
probably introduce yourselves. The audience will know who you are, okay?
Yep, Chief Deputy Brent Solon with the Sheriff's Office. We've been trying to figure out a way to do timekeeping better within the county. Timesheets, oftentimes, there's been, some discrepancies between those. We've come up with been in contact with a few automated companies that just automatically do the timekeeping, punch in, punch out for you. Something would have to be that we went with, that be really, I don't like to use the word customizable, but programmable to all the different kind of offices and jobs that we have here at the county. So we ended up talking to TCP Time Clock Plus. They seem to be the best ones. Natalie and Brenda and I sat down and had a Zoom meeting with them. Were they on today?
They're on. You have a proposal in front of you. And then, yeah, if they want to speak a little bit about the company, I guess.
Hey, everybody.
Good morning.
There we go.
Good morning. Thanks for
morning.
joining us this morning. You can go ahead and begin.
Yeah, thanks for having us. I want to say, it's been great working with your team. And they expressed a lot of the issues that we so often get brought into for state and local governments, because when you look at a government, there's so many different departments and everything's a little bit siloed in how they have their different business rules, their union rules, different things set up. And there's a lot of complexities, and there's also unique reporting and unique pay circumstances like comp time and stuff like that you just don't see in the private sector. And here at TCP, we've been doing the public sector for 35 plus years. We are experts at what we do, and we've designed a system that's first and foremost user friendly, because at the end of the day, adoption is important. We need to make sure that your staff, everybody from somebody that's working on the back roads in the county, maybe still has a flip phone or doesn't like to use a lot of technology, can use it. And what we always say, if they can use an ATM, they can use our system. But it also has to be configurable to do all the correct calculations, automate those things. So you're not getting a hodgepodge system that it works for this department, but not this department. You're still doing half of things manual, or creating more work for yourself because you thought you're getting something then. So TCP has a great reputation. I know the team reached out to some other counties as well that we've solved these problems for there in South Dakota. But we're really looking forward to working with the team there and showing you anything that you want to see today. I know we got my colleague Andrew, who's prepared to show a high-level overview of the system if anybody wants to see that. And I also got my team member Dylan here to help answer other questions too, that just more minds for you guys to make sure you get anything answered. But yeah, let us know how we can help.
Gable.
Just so folks know what we're talking about. So we're talking about a timekeeping system that, we're introducing that to the county. So better accountability. I think in particular, it's going to help law enforcement in the jail because of the complexity of all the different types of shift schedules that you do. I know, Matt in the jail has to spend an awful lot of time working through timesheets. So it'll be a savings in man hours, a plus for accountability. Do you guys have any screens you want to share or something, just so to give us an idea what this thing looks like, to give people an idea? I can stop sharing the agenda if you guys want to share anything. Is that okay, Mr. Chair?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep, I'll let Andrew lead the way with that. He's prepared.
Absolutely. Good morning, everyone. Great to meet you all. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Hopefully you should see this here in just a second. Do you see my screen in front of you?
Yeah, we can see it.
Fantastic. Okay, so, wanted to keep this fairly high level, but at the same time, please feel free to ask questions. If there's something very specific that is important to you and you want to understand how we're going to handle that, happy to dive into it. But as to introduce you to Time Clock Plus, as Nathan did just a moment ago, ultimately, we've been working with state and local governments for 35 plus years, technically 37, because we just entered the new year. And we have well over 33,000 plus customers, right, around the country who are taking advantage of the flexibility. Because as you all know, the roads department or the highway department operate very different to the sheriff's department. And we need to be able to set that up and configure the system so that all of those rules are in place, so that there's not a lot of manual calculations happening in the background. And through that 35 years of experience, we've really seen it all and supported so many state and local governments around the country with those kinds of nuances. So that's really who we are as a company. And as far as how your team would interact with the system, they can do that through a variety of methods. So Nathan mentioned, we want to make sure it's simple for the gentleman who's a little bit less tech savvy, or, the kid straight out of school who's got every single piece of technology that is known to man. And so we can do that through a diverse set of tools that are available. So of course we have physical time clocks, but we can also take advantage of mobile with geofencing technology to control and make sure that the person's in the right place when they're performing that action. Because ultimately, as with any organization, in order for the city or the county to function, we need to have the right people in the right place at the right time. And then, of course, for those administrators and people who are sitting down at a desk every single day, they just need to open up their computer and clock in or clock out, report those hours. We can definitely accommodate that as well. Okay. So I did want to take a moment just to walk you kind of through some basic functions in the system so you could see that. Does anyone have any questions before we actually go into the system?
Mr. Chair, just if you could, just give us the, I guess I'm saying just don't take too long.
Absolutely. I'll keep it short and sweet. I want to make sure you guys get everything you need out of this. So if I'm giving you too much, please feel free to interrupt me. Ultimately, I'm just going to bring up my browser here. I'm going to do everything from my computer because it'll be easier for everyone to see. However, everything I'm doing here can be done on any of those devices, right? So for a team member to clock in, to clock out, it's as simple as walking up to that device, identifying themselves. Of course, we can have things like badge readers and biometrics in place if the need is there. And they're just simply going to clock in, right? So when someone's clocking in, we're reporting those hours, we're calculating that information, and they're done, okay? Now, for some of your teams, thinking about the highway department, it may be that we want to split up those hours after the time has been reported to allocate that time to specific projects. So whether this is being done by a team member or a supervisor, we can give them access to a dashboard where they can do things like request leave, see their accruals, and review and approve their hours. So for this team member who works in the highway department, perhaps they need to allocate out their work yesterday and split it up between a couple of different projects. So they were working in the highway department at the same rate, but they started off the day and they worked from 9 to 1 on project A, and they work from 1 to 5 on project B or whatever it may be. So we can get really granular based on the needs of the particular departments to ensure that everything's hitting the correct accounts when it's being sent over to payroll or accounting, however you guys think of that. Okay. So keeping those things simple. So that's really everything I wanted you to see from the team members' perspective. From the supervisor and the administrator perspective, I'm just going to log in to the manager side. And what we're going to display for those supervisors, for those managers, is a dashboard with all of the pertinent information for them. So these are configurable dashboards, and we'll work with you through the implementation process to define what the dashboards for individual roles will look like so they can be assigned out. This dashboard here is probably a little bit more payroll orientated, right? Where are we spending the hours? Where are we at on that approval process to ensure that everything's accurate before we start paying people for it? How are we doing with overtime? Where is that happening? A supervisor's dashboard may look a little bit different. Maybe they want to see the approvals for the team members, right? So one of our team members here, Anna, has submitted her hours and approved them. They're going to flow straight into her supervisor's queue to approve. They don't have to go any deeper into the system unless they need to. They can have widgets on their dashboard like tardies, so they know when people are showing up late. Or perhaps if there's a fatigue rule for the sheriff's department and they need to have 16 hours off or 8 hours off between shifts, we can ensure that that kind of anomaly is flagged for them if it slips through, and things like missed punches as well. And then, of course, lastly, we have attendance, right? Who didn't show up today? Who's been absent? How can we quickly identify that and get that time off submitted for them? And also, what's the status of our team members? Who's clocked in? Who's clocked out? And, if we need to be able to contact those team members, we're going to give you a dashboard with all of that information, not only where they clocked in and where they clocked out, but also their contact information. So on a high level, that's everything that I wanted to review with you, but I also wanted to open it up to questions if you have any particular concerns that need to be addressed.
Commissioners, any questions?
I think it's more questions. So we're talking some South Dakota counties have used this as well, right?
Yeah, so I was just gonna talk on that. Roberts County uses it right now. Pennington County, they've been using it. When I reached out to them and talked to their sheriff's offices and jail are the only ones that use it. The rest of the county's on another program, but as you know, Pennington County is very large in comparison, but she was saying, payroll used to take me 2 to 3 days. We were doing it manually, entering, timesheets and everything. And since they did TCP, it's gotten it all the way down to 4 hours. So an entire morning to get their entire county or entire sheriff's office, jailers and deputies through in 4 hours. Charles Mix County, reached out to them. They use it countywide. I asked them for your roads, because I know that's kind of a question as far as like keeping data and numbers for specific roads, right? They use Beware for their highway department for tracking that road, but their time clock system, the highways shop is still using that. All 3 counties have asked if they're, have any regrets or anything, if they wish they would, continue to look for something else. And they say, absolutely not. This has been phenomenal and very easy for us to implement.
Nathan, do you want to speak real briefly on their return on investment? That page out of the proposal? Or somebody?
I think we have it on.
Yeah.
I think we have a paper copy.
Yeah,
For me.
just real quickly on that, that's taking some information from what we've gathered from the team there, as well as just some general information that we know from national statistics, like the Bureau of Labor Statistics and things like that, about how payroll, when it's processed manually, there's error rates and things like that happen. We always say that if there's an error on the employee side that is a favor to them, they're almost always gonna, or if it's shorting the employee, they're always going to bring that to the attention. They're not always going to come up and say, hey, you overpaid me this week, or, you paid me too much overtime, things like that get slipped through. So that's taken some different information that we've gathered over the years, and we've learned from talking to clients and plug that in. So it's not an exact science, but we do feel, and we do know from talking to our customers, and like the sheriff just mentioned there about the efficiency gains and things like that. It's a system that does pay for itself really rapidly.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I guess I would like to hear from our auditor and what her thoughts are on this software.
Sure. I appreciate the opportunity. I totally support this, just seeing now the process of payroll. And we then have to go through all of those vouchers and timesheets once we receive them too, and double check all that. That is a very time consuming process. Also, as is mentioned with the comp time and just all the different union contracts that we have, and different, what's the word I'm looking for the employees, there's different comp time and vacation time and just all that. It would just really help not only simplify, but I agree with just the accuracy.
Okay, very good. So just looking at the contract here, does somebody want to highlight that or talk about what the cost would be for this? It looks like there's an annual ongoing investment that the county would be responsible for.
That is correct. And I don't know, Nathan, is there with that amount, that ongoing that is quoted, was that only if we would agree to do this for a certain time period, or how did you guys end up on that?
We didn't do a deep dive in that. So this is how we ended up at the 5-year, and you guys do have the flexibility on that. So we're using a purchasing cooperative to get you a really great discounted price here called Omnia Purchasing that you happen to be a member of. And with that, it gets you about a 40% discount on the standard retail price. So the annual amount is based on the license counts. 135 users is what we had figured out. They're going to be able to use their leave accruals, their time, all those things that we talked about. And that runs with the discount $61.20 per employee per year. So that's where we came up with the $82.62. Now, the reason we're looking at a 5-year with the Omni agreement, they allow you to do a 3, 4, or 5-year agreement, and they price lock that for you for that length of that term, so that you don't have to worry about any uplifts. So that's an advantage. So for that reason, most of my public sectors given this contract, and they can have a set budget. They like to lock that in for the 5 years, but you could look at a 3 or 4 year if you prefer.
And then the initial cost, sorry, Mr. Chair. So,
Yeah, go ahead.
so just so that's the annual cost. But for the first year, the total, see, we have a sheet in the packet here. So there's also some implementation. Obviously, it's going to take a while to get all this stuff input and stuff. So,
So it looks like the total initial investment is $16,242.
so that would,
Plus the ongoing.
First year.
so that would include the first years
Yes. Yep.
and as well.
So then we would just have the annual expense of $8,262. Is that correct?
Correct.
So over 5 years, that's $41,000. So we're clear on that.
Yeah, I'd make a motion to approve this.
Motion to approve by Gable, second by McElhaney. Any further discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, just a couple quick.
Commissioner
so-
Gable?
So how, we budgeted for this.
That is correct. 19,000 is what you had in the budget.
Okay,
So
so, and that, is it the commissioner's budget or? is it-
yes,
Okay.
it's out of the commissioner.
And then the other question I had on, just when talking to other counties, the learning curve, because employees, we got a lot of employees are gonna have to get used to something totally new. So,
If you don't mind, Charles Mix and Pennington had both indicated, initially you have to work out those kinks, but both of them said by the time you get that down, after a couple months in, the system will run so smoothly, and you hardly have to do anything with it, so.
and then my question, interface with some of the other stuff that we have to use to produce, so like pay stubs and stuff like that. How does that?
So this will calculate everything for us. We will still need to go into the Ultra system and enter that data.
So this could.
There's not an integration.
So it replaces the manual timesheets, so.
Yes, yes, and all that work that goes into checking those out, yes.
Okay, so just for the implementation, what are we looking at for a timeline? And are the department heads going to be the ones instructing their own employees on the use of this system? Or what's the plan
Good
there?
question. We talked a little bit and Nathan can speak to that as well a little bit more, but they have a timeline on there, I think with a tentative like 5/1 go live date. Which is, I believe, flexible based on what we need and what works for the auditor's office, but they will train department heads and then department heads to train staff,
Okay.
but I anticipate being heavily involved in that, making sure that everybody gets the same message. If there's questions, concerns, people know how to use it.
Great. Good. Very good.
We record all the trainings and we'll do an employee training as part of that implementation as well, where we get on a Zoom call and walk the employees through that, answer their questions and record that for anybody that's not able to participate.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Any more questions,
Yeah,
Commissioner
I have a question.
McElhaney?
Is there any requirement for additional equipment? Hardware?
So we talked about remote shops, like the county shop out, you can do it on your phone, but you can set a geofence. Like if you wanted them to clock in at the shop and if they're getting a cell phone stipend, they can have an app on their phone. And that screen that you saw up there is the same as the app. So they would just tap in on the app. So I guess in those remote shops, if you were looking to put a device there, you'd probably need a tablet with cell service or internet connection, one of the two. Otherwise, your other option is if they have a cell phone stipend, you could have them put it on their cell phone. But the clocks around here, it can be done from the computers. So,
There may be some places though that might need tablets is kind of what we
Yeah.
were thinking.
yeah.
Those,
Well,
we're
I'm
not
thinking about
100% sure on
like
that.
Henry, South Shore, all these outlying, highway department
Right.
shops.
They
And they
wouldn't,
should be able to do it from their phone.
Right.
We need
They-
to check that out because they get a cell phone stipend.
Yep.
But
they
yeah,
would need an internet connection in order to have something like
Yeah.
that. So it will be,
But it might be easier even for the highway shop just to have a tablet,
right.
Yeah.
like
That's,
at that one location.
Right.
Or maybe even in the jail or something.
Tyler, did you have a question?
Yes, Mr. Chair. So understanding not everybody gets a cell phone stipend, but is it an app that like the other people would still have the access to be able to use their phone? Or is there going to be like an additional?
Good question. The mobile app fee is built in, so there's no additional. So if I, for example, am a supervisor and I may not be getting a cell phone stipend, but it's easier for me to handle it on my phone, there's no charge to download the app and I could decide to use it there and there'd be no additional cost to the county.
Okay. One other question, Mr. Chair. Mainly Brenda, but how much time is spent going through timesheets currently? I mean, Brent just mentioned
Yeah.
2 days to 4 hours.
I'll-
I gotta believe it's gotta be more than that for the auditor's office.
yes, absolutely. It has been very time consuming. And so we have also been doing some cleanup on trying to match up. It's been overwhelming. It will be a great addition. That's what I'm going to say. So,
Okay, so we have a motion and a second on this. Let's go ahead and vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks.
thank you, guys.
All right. Let's move on to number 7, item number 7, Veteran Service Officer Monthly Report. Todd, good morning.
Good morning. Morning, Todd.
Good morning, everybody. It's a lovely crisp morning in South Dakota.
Yeah, little cool this morning.
Yeah,
13 below on my way to work this morning.
the sun is shining though. It's got Well, I wasn't here in January, so I'm going to give you the totals basically for 2024. Codington, we completed 267 claims, 34 claims from other counties surrounding us. An increased monthly compensation per month for veterans and dependents of 141,000 and some change. Retro payment for 2024 was 1.5 million and some change. We gave 48 veterans transport to various locations, mostly Sioux Falls. We also support Hamlin, so we did 23 claims for Hamlin. Their monthly compensation increase was about $9,700 to veterans and dependents. Their retro payment was about 17,000 and some change. Our budget execution out of our office was 93.7%. So it's a good year, busy year. For February, getting us back in on the monthly side of things here, we currently have 190 open claims, 94 pending action from the VA, and 10 completed year to date. In Hamlin, we have 10 open claims, 6 pending action, and 1 completed year to date. Currently working 13 claims for veterans outside of Codington County and 1 completed so far this year. So the increase for the monthly stipend for January and February was 3,492. Year to date, 10,000 and some change. Retro payments for the month of January, $41,000 and some change there. Year to date, retro payments is 100,000 and 101,000 and some change. We gave 4 veterans transportation rides to Sioux Falls, and we currently have 8 drivers right now. We picked up a couple more, so we're doing good there. We greatly appreciate our volunteer drivers that help us out there from that standpoint. I was over and talked to the VA clinic here the other couple weeks ago. I was over there. And they are seeing a steady increase of number of enrollees in the VA healthcare from that standpoint, which is a good thing. I think a lot of that has to do with the Honor the Pact Act that was passed in August of 22. It opened up eligibility to a lot of different veterans. And again, getting the word out, it's a great thing there from that standpoint. You can use VA healthcare if you want, but if there's veterans out there that haven't looked at it or at least enrolled into it, it's a great benefit. You don't have to use it if you're enrolled in it. I would encourage them all to get enrolled into it because it's based off of the amount of veterans. They get funding just like any other thing. The more veterans we have enrolled in our local area, the more money that they get stipend for. Okay, what else I got here? As far as the VA, coming out for this year, not a lot of big announcements, not a lot of changes and things. There's a few rating codes that might be changed, how they're rated and stuff like that. Pretty minimal from that standpoint. I haven't heard anything on the radar as far as in legislation on the national side from that standpoint. I would say that the DAV here in South Dakota proposed a thing, and it was supported by the legislatures in Pierre to try to get the transportation looked at on a national level to hopefully maybe include everybody in the rural grant. As you know, Codington County is not eligible for the rural grant like some of the other counties that are around us. They're going to push that forward to the senators and representatives on the national side. See if that can get traction. Again, that's a national thing that would probably come with a pretty good price tag. Right now, if you're 30% service connected, you're eligible for travel and stuff like that. But if you're just using VA healthcare from 0 to 20%, you have to pay for your travel if you have to go to Sioux Falls or stuff like that. So they're looking to incorporate everybody. As long as you're in VA healthcare, you would be eligible for transportation. Again, that's a federal deal, so we'll wait to hear on that. Nothing has changed as of right now, but maybe I'll get some traction, and it would be a great addition, but there's probably a pretty good price tag on the other side of that. So just a reminder to all of our veterans or dependents that are receiving any type of compensation or pension, that money that they get from the VA is tax-free. They will not get a 1099 for tax purposes. They do not have to claim that on their taxes. We've had a few people. Yep, for disability or pension, or, some dependents have compensation from that standpoint. So any money that they're getting from the VA from that standpoint should not be taxed.
That's a first.
It's been that way for quite a while, but we've had a couple of people call asking, hey, am I going to get a 1099 or where do I get a 1099? Well, is it from the VA? Or is it from,
What's,
yours is DOD,
yeah, I guess it would be, okay.
yours is
Yeah,
Department of
yeah,
Defense,
yeah.
that's taxable.
Right,
All
okay.
pensions from,
All right.
from a retire. Okay, good, good.
Better read that better.
Yeah.
DOD and VA are two different animals there from that standpoint. Along with that, just a reminder to our veterans that are out there, 'tis the time for renewal of your hunting and fishing license here. Usually it expires on the 31st of January. If you have a K award or you have a 40% service-connected disability or higher, you are eligible to get the reduced fee hunting and fishing license. That's $10. It's good for 4 years.
What was the first fee, the tail?
The what?
Read that again.
Okay, I didn't quite read it all. I was just
Instead
kind of,
of K.
a K award. K award. So you should know if you have a K award or not. It's a special monthly compensation given to certain veterans because of certain disabilities. So they should know. If they don't know, if they are questioning that, just give our office a call. We'll be able to figure out if they have that or not. They can take their summary of benefits letter and they can take that right down here to the local game fish and parks and they can get their license right there from that standpoint. Also with that K award, you are eligible for a South Dakota State Park entrance sticker and South Dakota reduced license plates from that standpoint. That's with the K award. That's not if you're 40% service connected. You have to have the K award to get those last two. But if a veteran has any questions about their benefits and entitlements, give our office a call. I was gone last week. Jay was on the radio, did a great job there. Future things we got coming up on the 22nd of February. We'll be attending the South Dakota Army National Guard Crossroads event at the Watertown Readiness Center. This is for the current serving service members that have 15 years of service or more, basically prepping them to start looking at retirement, TRICARE benefits, claims, different stuff like that. There's going to be several presenters out there from that standpoint. Any questions of me?
I do have a couple, I see that new van around town now,
Yes,
out of the.
the VTS van.
Yeah,
Yep,
is that working all right?
yep,
Or
yep.
You don't have anything to do with it.
Nope, nope, nope. He stops in and talks to us every now and then, but I think they're staying busy. That's a good
So
thing.
what is remind me, what is their function?
They are stationed out of Watertown and they are able to go out to different locations and pick up veterans and bring them to Watertown.
Okay.
Yep, be
Good
it from
local center.
Dual, Millbank, Day and stuff like
Right.
that. They're able to coordinate. They want that at least a day ahead of time. You know, I think, no, actually I take that back. It's 3 days that you have to call in. There's a number. They have it at the clinic. We have it too. You can call them from that standpoint and
Very good. And the other thing was, is that another attaboy deal. I had an individual, a friend of mine approached me that he had a relative that passed away, I don't know, somewhere out of state. And they wanted to bring him back to Watertown area here for the burial. And they wanted to have a military. And I sent him to Todd and he said, Todd took care of me. Point blank. And I knew that would happen and he just sends his thank yous for, he said, and the nice part of it was, he said, they're nice guys.
Jeff,
So that a boy.
Good work.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much
Thank
for your
you.
service.
have a good day.
Yep, thanks,
Thank
Todd.
you, all right, let's move on to the Community Services Director, Sarah Faust. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning.
Morning, Sarah.
Hi, good morning. Can do that from Reaching World. Yes. Have the, oh, do you have the?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. No, that's good. Thank you. Okay, great. Good morning. So we'll start with our graphs and the kind of the numbers for the month. Continue pretty consistently to see a fair number of people, 47 in January, 95 different contacts or different services, 87 different contacts. So obviously started over with the costs. The transportation is, it's becoming more frequent that we have people come into our office that need transportation back to a different community where they come from. And so generally that's what those transportation costs. We have a maximum amount of $150. And so that will get people generally quite a ways across the country where they need to go. So that's that number. Then just our normal referrals, services. Any questions on any of that? If not, I'll keep
Go ahead.
going. Okay. So for January, we submitted for $4,000 in administrative fees that were reimbursed for the South Dakota CARES. That's the work that Carrie does processing the South Dakota CARES applications. The Medicaid reimbursement for the CHW was $2,361 billed in January. Then for the office, I went to Washington DC last week for Reaching Rural. That was kind of the culmination event for the Reaching Rural activities that we've done. And so we did receive the $100,000 for that project. And that has been awarded. So that's the funding that will for year one, support that position that we're applying or that we're interviewing for. I also went to Pier for Children's Day at the Capitol presentation. Commissioner Van Duzen was there. It was a good event. We had a good response to that event as well. Went with Sister Barb and Randy Tupper from that to talk about the work that we're doing here in Watertown. I'm continuing to evaluate the office staffing needs and space needs. We are looking at some other office spaces. At this point, we're just probably considering renting. Once we have an idea of a space and how that might work, then my plan is to reach out to the commissioners and have you come and tour the space and look at the space. But I want to make sure that we know that one, it's going to work, and two, what the cost will be before we start moving forward on that. But obviously, as we've discussed, we need more office space in our office. So we need to look at some other options for that. We are hoping to interview this week for that Substance Use and Justice Programs Coordinator. We have had several applications, and so it's going to start the interview process this week. Yes. Yes. Also, I forgot to tell you because there were so many other things happening in past months. We have been awarded the $30,000 CHW grant by the Department of Health. That grant will start in May or June. And so we haven't received the actual award. We've just been notified that we have been one of the communities awarded for that grant.
What was the name of that grant again?
It's, yeah, it's for the community health worker expansion through the Department of Health. And this grant in particular is for community health workers to work with people involved in the justice system. And so it's kind of the work that Carrie's already been doing with working with brothers and sisters behind bars and supporting that. It also aligns directly with the COSUP funding that we'll have. So it's $15,000 per community health worker. So because we have 2 community health workers, we can receive $15,000 for both of them. So yeah. For as far as the systems of care and Codington Connects work, our interagency meeting is this week at the Boys and Girls Club. So they will be hosting that this week, Thursday morning at 9 o'clock at the Boys and Girls Club for any providers to attend. Agency of the month this month is Boys and Girls Club. They were supposed to be January, but things just didn't line up. And so we moved them into February. And Megan Fishback, who is a social worker at the Boys and Girls Club, is the individual of the month. For childcare, we are still working on getting some partners for a contract to work with Klein Visioneering Group, but Watertown Development Company has taken the lead on that and has moved forward with that contract. So the goal with that is to develop some a plan for businesses to be able to support their employees in making childcare more affordable with that. So that's the work that we'll be doing with them. Our childcare group meets next Wednesday at 1:30. And so if anybody's interested in being part of that discussion, let me know. We can join in. That meeting is on Zoom. Our centralized location is part of that office space. We are continuing to work on a business plan and feasibility and funding for potential purchasing a centralized location for that. We held our Codington Connects annual meeting event in January. That went really well. We had We combined it with ACES trainings. We had an intro to ACES in the morning, which had about 70 attendees. We were out of chairs in the facility, which was a great attendance. We did our meeting over lunch, which had about 50 attendees. And then we did a kind of a more in-depth ACES training in the afternoon and had about 40 attendees at that. So it was a great event, a great day, well received and great response to that. And then again, as always, just check out Codington Connects at www.codingtonconnects.com for more events and information about what's happening in the community.
Great. Any questions? All right.
Good.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Sarah.
Thank
Yep,
you. Have a
thanks,
great
Sarah.
day.
You
Thank you.
too. Right. Let's move on to Brenda from the auditors for the auditors report. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. I guess I would just like to report that preparation and work is starting on the annual report. And also, I am tracking legislative bills that is related to elections. So that's kind of the biggest things going on right now.
There are a lot. Sure.
Yeah,
There are a lot of those.
Yes, yes, there are. And our legislators have been really good to work with. They're reaching out to me, I reach out to them. So there's been good communication with them. So I appreciate that.
That's great. All right. Number 8, action to approve the auditor's account with the treasurer and note monthly register of deeds fees.
Yes, you have that information in your packet as well, showing the last business day of January. So down at the bottom on the auditor's account with the treasurer, it has our restricted and then the custodial funds. So the amount going to the schools, townships, and then city and towns, it gets allocated out. I don't know if anyone has any questions on that, but then the amount of the register of deeds fees for the month of January was $28,656.45.
Move to approve.
Move to approve by McElhaney, second by Gable. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 9, discussion possible action to set the amount for the formal budget hearing to supplement Codington County Jail building account.
All right, to Lee, I guess. I don't know who wants to take the lead on this. No, this is just about the hearing. We need to set an
So
amount.
the amount, I think,
That will-
talking to speaking to Toby Morris, who's going to be our financial advisor, he suggested just budgeting that entire amount. That's it, that we have saved in the account. The following resolution would allow us to put some of the bonded funds into an account, so we could manage it, and so we can get some investment return that will help us against the, maybe it will offset the levy, and hopefully it will help a little bit with that. So, yeah, so the budget would be that whole, but it's roughly 7.6 million.
But I need an exact amount from you because I have to put that as part of my publication. So the amount that you emailed me, would that be it?
Yeah, that was just what I emailed. It was
Okay.
5.
Let me pull that up.
I
Just,
could pull it up too.
yeah, maybe you can find it. I'm on my little phone.
Let's go at it. Okay, the amount I have is $7,588,370. So 7,588,370.
So with that, I will be able to, I've reached out to, the biggest thing is we need to have this in 10 days prior to the hearing date. And I'm working with the Gazette since they're a weekly, and I'm hoping that it will get in this Thursday. So if it does, we will be able to have our public hearing on January 25th at 9 a.m.
Okay.
So that's what I'm shooting for. I'll let you know if it changes, otherwise it'd be the next. February 25th, I'm sorry if I said January, yes, February 25th at 9 a.m.
Okay, once again, that would be for $7,588,370.
I think it's 80,000, not 88.
88, yeah,
88.
7,588,000.
Yeah, 588,370.
So do I have a motion?
Someone.
Moved by Gable,
I'll second it.
second by Schwer. Any more discussion on that?
I would
Once
just let
again.
you know, once that happens at that, we will need separate motions to start moving that money, and I'll have that all ready for you guys and what that needs to look like. So
So just Mr. Chair, just so people know what we're talking about. So this is part of the budget for the jail. That's that amount we said was the amount of our savings that we want to use to the jail. So it makes sense to use it because it's just gonna, it's just with inflation, you get the
Right.
most for your dollars.
Mhm.
And so that's gonna be revenue shown as both an expenses and as revenue in the budget. So it's, basically saved funds called applied funds in the budget world. And then on top of that, I think I'm saying this correctly. And then on top of that, we're gonna be also the bonded funds that the voters approved will be part of the next action, I guess, on the agenda. So.
Okay.
Right. So during that, what happened, why we need to do this is because we didn't know how the election was going to be, so it was not a budgeted item. So now we are setting a budget for 2025 since it wasn't previously there. So that's what this process actually is.
Yeah, so just so the timeline, we have to approve budgets in September, election was until November, so we couldn't obviously budget something that the voters hadn't approved.
Right.
So that's.
So is there, Mr. Chair, that's not zeroing that line item out, is it?
You mean the account of money that we have saved for the future?
No, there'll be some over $1 million left in there.
Plus So-
Okay.
so
Yeah, it's 8.6.
That's.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, we'll go ahead and vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to number 10, action to approve a resolution 2025-05 authorizing the execution of an agreement with Colliers Securities LLC for an investment managed services for the short-term fixed income strategy. That's a lot.
Yes.
So who wants
That
to
is
take
what
that?
Lee talked about. This is just
Okay.
procedurally what we need to do for Colliers to be able to help manage.
And you
all
do have
those
that,
services.
I believe, in your packet.
Yes.
If you
I'll
want to
make a
look at
motion
it.
to approve this, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Gable to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by McElhaney. And once again, the resolution is in your packet.
Mr. Chair. Just-
Commissioner Gable.
Just, I asked questions of Colliers, Mr. Morris, just so I can make sure I understood this, but essentially this is opening an account, an investment account with them. So that's a place to put these bonded funds, which allows them. And they have there's certain investments, obviously, that government entities are restricted to, so that's where he's gonna be working. And we've had a number of discussions with him, but this is a procedural step to allow him to basically directing our auditor and treasurer to open that account.
Mhm.
If I'm getting that correctly.
So, Mr. Chair, question. So since it reads as an investment, we're moving this money into this investment account. Until we've actually spent the money, are we earning something on it?
That's the strategy. You're saying we spend, that's kind of the strategy, was whether it's better to spend, to invest, say, save funds versus bonded funds or vice versa. And so that's kind of what we're paying for, is to know when the time.
That's a good question.
So that is why we're using our money from the building fund for a lot of these upfront costs until they go out for those bonds, and then that should hopefully backfill some of that.
He was here and gave us a presentation a while back. It was a very good presentation on how they're going to do that. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to number 11, action to declare office equipment surplus to be destroyed in the Register of Deeds office.
All right, so she has 4 things: an HP LaserJet printer, 22-inch LCD monitor, and 22-inch LCD monitors. You don't have that in there, I'm sorry. And then an Elite Desk 800. Those are the 4 items. You want me to
That's a
pass it
computer, I
around?
believe, right?
Yep, yes.
Elite Desk.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by
Second.
Gable, second by Schwer. Any discussion?
8-1 Schwer.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 12 is just a note for everybody that the 4-H shooting sports intend to hold a raffle.
Right, and that is in there, and Jody talked about that last week. I believe that should be in your packet. There it is. She mentioned that during her report last week. It's just procedurally something now that has to happen to on the legal side of that.
And we do have a note in your packet, says the letters to notify you of the intention of Codington County 4-H shooting sports program to hold a raffle. Start date for ticket sales is March 4th, 2025. The end date for ticket sales and the date of the drawing is May of 2025. Cost of the tickets will be $20 each with 1,000 tickets being sold. All right, let's move on to number 13, President's Day office closure coming up. on Monday.
Yes, Monday, February 17th. All offices, county offices will be closed in honor of our observance of President's Day.
Number 14, action to approve abatement
No
applications.
abatements.
15, action to approve claims for payment.
Yes.
Have a few of those.
Yes, we do. It is our monthly claims list. All of you have that. I didn't have anything in particular that I was going to mention. Court appointed attorney, once again, 119,000 this year or this month. So that keeps steady, a steady climb.
Were you ever gonna get that thing under control?
Oh, it's
Or is that a
it's-
wish?
a wish. Every month it just seems to increase, so.
Get another clerk assessment here.
Well, yeah, that's a follow-up of one that we've already submitted. We don't have any right now because any that are settled, we are not eligible for if they settle, even if they're large amounts. It's only
Yeah.
those that go to trial.
I meant as an assessment as an expense.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, premium
Okay.
payment basically for the insurance. So to
Right.
speak,
Yeah.
Because that fluctuates based upon,
Claims.
claims.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
All right, let's see.
Oh.
Budget supplements?
So I might mention, we didn't have a motion and a second on this yet. So
Oh,
the
yeah.
state, we had the total amount of $1,370,90.72. The state passed through though, the money that we are, goes directly to the state. The amount was $790,614.68. So that leaves the county claims for the month of, January, $579,476.04.
Okay, let's take a motion.
Move to approve.
Move to approve by McElhaney. Second. Gable? Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
No budget supplements.
No supplements. Number 16. Number 17, action to approve personnel changes.
Personnel changes. It's had a few travel.
Let's move on to 18, travel requests.
So there's two individuals from the treasurer's office to attend a workshop, and you have all that information in your packet.
These are budgeted items.
I'm assuming so.
I assume. It's not
Yeah.
checked, but I assume it is.
Move to approve.
Move to approve by Johnson. A second.
Second.
Second by Schwer. Any discussion on the travel requests? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Public notices, a possible quorum of commissioners could be in attendance at, we talked about it last week, but the Watertown Winter Farm Show is coming up 12th through the 15th. So there could be a few of us attending that this year. Looking forward to that.
Yep. We got her started yesterday. I was out there all day. Crop show, state crop show is done. We submitted the winnings to the paper and they'll be in this week's current.
All
There
right.
you go. Everything's automated now.
Anybody have anything else?
There might be a geocount tomorrow. Not sure about that, but I think.
I think it was the last one canceled, I think,
Yeah,
right?
I think it was.
Okay.
With Valentine's Day, you never know. We could just all be in the same place.
Yeah,
buying
could be.
flowers for
Yeah.
supper or something, right?
If you go to Dairy Queen, you might run into me. Yeah. Such romantic. All right, let's talk about old business. Anybody have any old business?
Mr. Chair, just to follow up on the easement, I'm sorry, the approach applications. So those are submitted to DOT, so now we're waiting. On that.
What is the timeline for that? Is there a timeline?
Take a week, couple weeks. They
Okay.
didn't seem to think it was be that long. So,
Okay, all right.
see what happens.
Thank you for the update. New business, 21. Anybody have any new business? Any new business? Anything for the open, public comments? It's a pretty thin group. Public comments, the open. All right, commissioner comments. Anybody have anything? The only thing that I have is, I've been reviewing the county's website and, I've sent an email off to Commissioner Gable and Auditor Hanton, and I'd like you guys just to kind of take a look at it if you have a chance. If you see anything on there that you think needs to be updated, let's try and get it updated. There was a lot of stuff that was in need of updating, and so.
So, Mr. Chair, what, who does update the,
So if you get that information to me, I can forward on to the individual who does the website works. So
So we pay.
I will, yes, I will
It's a
send out
third
an,
party that manages the service for us and,
Yeah.
and, they do a good job. But there's just some stuff that's a little
Right.
timely.
Mr. Chair, the other thing is, again, and this was mentioned earlier, there are a lot of bills out in the legislature that have some direct effect or some residual effect on the counties. Keep tabs of them and like Brenda said, don't be afraid to contact your legislators. I talked to some of them this week and actually, like I said, keep it short, keep it simple. And the response was, thank you for keeping it short. And I'm answering you because it was short. So,
I get a lot of emails during session, so.
and there's those websites, from from Chris, from the state office and then the state, well, they're good. And I think most everybody gets them.
Mhm.
So that really helps you go through them quickly to see which ones, the association is, behind them and hoping that they'll pass.
Just to piggyback on that, Mr. Chair, you mentioned last week about the regular Zoom meeting, so every Wednesday it's one or
At
two.
1 o'clock.
Yeah, 1 o'clock.
Mhm.
They go through they mentioned the key bills they're working at the moment, not everyone on the list that the counties think about. So there's can't talk, but you can send a Q&A in by chat.
Yeah, and the whole meeting, really, the legislative update is about 15 minutes, maybe tops.
Yeah.
So it's pretty short. So if you get on and click that Zoom link, you can hear the status update on where those bills are at. So good. Thank you, Commissioner.
one other thing, Mr. Chair. So due to the inclement weather with the blood drive, they did officially cancel the second day. And it's simply because the risk of keeping the blood mobile trucks overnight in town and the product. So they've canceled the second day. It will happen. The first day is still a go. And then they're gonna take the trucks back to Sioux Falls and get them back inside. And it's strictly because of the cold spell that we're having right now. But
Is that the reason?
Yeah.
So that's always a contest between the fire department and the police department. And I heard that the fire department asked to tap out the second
Yeah,
day.
you heard it correct.
what is the date of that? Do you know?
It's the Heroes Behind the Badges blood drive. It is out at the event center. Is it the 12th and 13th?
I think so.
It is.
Yeah.
So they canceled the 13th. What they were saying on the radio today, because most of the appointments are scheduled in advance and usually like 90% full. So if you were scheduled for the second day, they're recommending that you get in contact with them and scheduling.
Reschedule a time.
Work it out,
Yeah.
tell you when you're
They'll
next.
squeeze you in, no pun intended.
Yeah, they were gonna try and get as many of those second day appointments set up on the first. So thank you for bringing that up. Good. All right, anybody have anything else? All right, if not, we do have a need to go into executive session here this morning for personnel.
I move to go into executive session.
Okay, motion by Johnson, second by Schwer. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And I do not believe that we will have a need for any follow-up after the meeting.
Stay warm, JT.